Our next presenter is Pedro Fernandez. Pedro is an environmental studies major graduating at the end of the quarter, just a couple of weeks away. Let's hear it for Pedro. As you will see from Pedro's presentation, he loves being in the forest, collecting data, hugging the occasional tree, and that won't change after he graduates either, because Pedro already has plans to work as a wildland firefighter next summer. The title of his presentation, Forest Health, Compounding Disturbances, and the Advancement of Management Technology, was done with the Washington Department of Natural Resources. His site supervisor there was Lauren Cuny of Omnificient Consulting, and his faculty advisor here on campus is our very own Tim Bello. With that, I'll turn it over to Pedro.
Thank you. All right, you guys can hear me in the back? Cool. All right, let's do it. All right, so let's talk about forests. Our forests provide us with many resources that we use every day. Anything from this table here to the pen and pencils that our anonymous judges are using right now. What we often forget about is how we directly and indirectly affect our forests over time. Whether it be from carbon emission or logging, there's many ways that we negatively affect these forests and the ecosystems embedded in them. Making sure that we're aware of how large our negative impact is in the form of our carbon footprint is essential in maintaining their health in the long term. For my project, I helped my host organization, the DNR, in the Olympic region with their natural habitat surveys. We were to go into the forest with a group of 3 to 4 technicians and measure the plant regrowth after different logging techniques. The purpose of the survey was to measure and see how different logging techniques would affect the regrowth over time. So the DNR owns private state lands that would then be auctioned out to different logging companies to use experimental techniques such as the normal clear cutting or thinning, selective cutting. My job as a technician was to go out every single day with this group of people here. We'd get to 1 to 2 sites every single day, and we'd manually enter the data into spreadsheets on clipboards that would later be put into a larger database for historical purposes. One thing that I noticed, the biggest problem was that the amount of manpower necessary to conduct these surveys, it wasn't just us. It was a bit unfeasible to manage, especially during COVID. So I focused on finding how AI management can help make this more efficient. In the forest, there are occasional fun times like tree hugging, but in reality, a lot of the off-trail hikes lead to pretty sketchy spots of the wilderness where it can be a little bit dangerous to get out there. I think this is the same day that we got a car stuck off the side of a cliff somewhere, so if that tells you anything. This picture was taken actually in June, and we've just been hit by a rainstorm. You can kind of see the slope of this cliff, but I mean, this is what we'd have to put up with every single day. So it would take us multiple hours just to drive up to these spots, and then it would take a few hours just to record the data. With the management technology in the form of AI software, these forests can instead be digitally mapped and maintained from a distance. There's even filters that you can put in to look for any specific thing, whether it be a certain species or a certain domain. Which brings me to its next use, disturbance recognition. In the era of climate change, it seems like the increase in climate is the biggest disturbance, but the way that compounding disturbances work and interact with each other is much more dangerous. Compounding disturbances is essentially when one single disturbance creates a domain for more to thrive off of, and then it just begins to cascade after that. So for this example would be an increase in temperature leads to more dry wood, better season for insects to mate, and then later leads to forest fires in the long term. Having these areas digitally mapped does not immediately solve the problem, but it at least gives companies like the DNR some forecast and some availability to predict and come up with different strategies to maintain the forest. During my time there, we measured the dead wood in our plots, and this is only data for 20 sites. This was collected in the form of manually going out there, and this took us over 2 weeks between 4 people to collect. With AI technology, this could all be done within a day, as well as many other sites at the same time. People often think that AI technology is not very accurate or efficient, but with the use of decision trees, and historical data, the system will have a basis to make decisions with, and it'll go through a filtering process, so it won't just be whatever it thinks it can come up with. And having this disposable is exemplary, especially when realizing the amount of manpower that it takes away. The DNR can be more efficient in sending their crews out to do preemptive care instead of actually combating the forest fires hand to hand. Outside of the DNR, this can also be applied to many other environmental industries, whether it be disaster modeling for infrastructure decisions or in agriculture, where it has shown to increase the yield of crops by up to 30%. The adaptability of this system is really amazing. There's also other industries outside of the environment, such as business, finances, education, manufacturing. The possibility of this system is really only limited to the creativity of these different industries, but it can really be applied anywhere. To leave you with a last note, we must always remember that these resources that we extract from the forest need time to regrow. Making sure that we're responsible with our carbon footprint is the best thing we can do to make sure that these last for more generations than just our own. Thank you. Here's my contact information if you want to tweet at me or email me. Special thanks to my faculty advisor, Timothy Billow, and my site supervisor, Lauren Keeney, as well as my family and friends that showed up today. My roommates for helping me present in the living room this whole week. And all of you guys for showing up. So thank you.
All right, we have a question for Pedro.
Yeah.
What would you want somebody who was using your data to know about how it was collected?
I guess the biggest thing is how intimate it is, because you really are going out there, you're taking multiple hour hikes, and all the stuff that we're using is by hand. I mean, we don't have any machinery. It's all pens and paper, pulling tape across 40 meters in different directions. So it's really just, it's a really hard time to be out there and be collecting all this stuff, especially when none of it's paved. I mean, you're mostly side scaling on the side of a mountain to get to different spots. So that's, I think, what I'd want them to know.
Any other questions? Good. Great.
Yeah.
Is there a specific type of AI that they're using, or are they using LiDAR data, and is it is there anything specific?
I was supposed to repeat the question. So she asked if there's a specific form of AI technology, and I don't think it's a specific form. I think it's between ArcGIS and LiDAR are the main two, the most popular ones. But I think as time goes on, we'll figure out which one works best. Yeah.
Thank you. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
I'm curious if you reflect on your experiences, this summer and going out and doing those things. Is there some intrinsic value to the clumsy, less efficient collection of data?
Sorry, I don't think I fully understood that last part. If there's what? Sorry.
Well, just if you reflect on your experience so far,
Yeah.
do you think that there is, for you personally, any intrinsic value in the clumsiness of your more intimate yet less efficient data collection?
Okay, yeah. I definitely say yes. I kind of enjoy the clumsiness of it. It's kind of nice. I mean, we'd go out into the forest, and I mean, we'd be done with 2 sites, which took us a full 10 hours of a day, and then we'd get back home, and then my supervisor and I would be going over the papers, and she's like, wait a minute, we forgot a whole section or something. And then we'd have to wake up extra early the next day. So, I mean, it's kind of a little bit more engaging. It's a lot more fun than sitting behind a computer screen all day and just looking at numbers. So I think that's important as well to note.
All right, great.
There you go.